Hi everyone, Up the Knee Low Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for a review of this new Civerous album, Maze Envy.
Wowie zowie, that's an incredible maze.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I mean, it's amazing.
For sure.
Where do you even get a maze that good?
It's just a drawing. I don't think it's real.
Don't you say that about Maisie! We're in love, and she's more real than you'll ever be.
What?
And once I run through her walls, we'll see who has maze envy. We'll all see.
Well, that's definitely not going to lead to anything later in this video. This is the second full-length LP from up-and-coming California metal outfit Civerous. It's their first for the $20 spin label, which drops loads of quality left-field, dark, grim underground metal records every year. And I knew I was going to review this Civerous album from the first teaser I heard, Labyrinth Charm, featuring vocalist Derek Rydquist of The Faceless, as well as the Zenith Passage. And this track was just some really great quality raw death metal with very good guitar work, a crushingly heavy mix, as well as some progressive and dynamic elements at play too. I'm talking oppressive doom metal levels of heaviness on the riffs and the tuning. I have not heard a death metal record quite this thick in a minute, especially with the breakdown in the last leg of this track. And while with this track I came for the heft, I stayed for the mystical, eerie guitar arpeggios on the intro, the very righteous and epic riff passages toward the finish, and the slightly black metal inspired midpoint that features some relentless blast beats as well as very melodic tremolo guitar lines. It's a multi-phase death metal track with a lot of great fluid, tasteful changes that are memorable and actually complement each other, as the band's not just throwing blood and entrails at the wall to see what sticks or just overwhelm the audience. So again, given this track, I had high hopes going into this album, but I just didn't really know how ambitious and flavorful it would actually be when I heard the whole thing. Because the band really does land a perfect balance on this album between sounding powerful and massive, but also leaving enough room in their details and mixes to bring in these extra cool little harmonious or melodic details and embellishments. Take the song Shrouded in Crystals, for example, which kicks off with these absolutely pounding riffs, but then eventually we get these creepy horror film style synthesizers creeping into the song, soaring above it all and adding some cinematic tension in the process, which sets things up for the more relentless riff passages to follow. Now this track is an 8-minute monster, so there is a lot to come after this. Twisted chord changes, really solid drum fills, more soundtrack-worthy synth layers, and many nicely blocked-out riff passages that switch things up in intensity. You're getting mosh-friendly ragers on here, as well as more dizzying chromatic licks that really kind of hit you hard and leave you a little confused. There's a very grand and doomy finale at the very end of the track, and it's just nice to hear a band of this style looking at a song of this length and really mapping it out to make sure it functions well on a macro level, because for as long as the track is, there's just so much going on across it, it doesn't get stale. And this could also be said for the album overall, with its tight 7-track runtime, which includes an ominous, spacious tone-setting intro, also the track Endless Symmetry, which is a serene and bittersweet guitar passage that really sets things up well for the following track I mentioned earlier, Labyrinth Charm, and deeper into the record,
LEVITATION.
Tomb really ramps things up, almost putting the two previous core tracks on the album to shame with its heaviness, because those down-tuned, dissonant riff passages on the back end of the song are the hardest hitting thing on the record by far. It's just seismic earthquake levels of bass, and still, even at this level of thickness, of density, we're still getting these cool little extra melodic details, and it serves as a great reminder that death doom metal doesn't need to be this tedious experience, which is important for keeping things engaging, especially since this album ends off with two very lengthy tracks, the title track and the closer, each of which are 9 minutes and change respectively. The former really lives up to its title because it does feel like a fever dream where you're lost in various parts of a maze. And the lyrics really do add to this feeling of maze envy. Walls beyond walls, the ecstasy within patterns and puzzles, in reverence of this mighty icon, are complete adoration to this locus. Spirit fully immersed unto thee, I will only lay forth my all, the sounds of prayers and chants, elated worship, in grand fashion my soul it screams. Eyes shut, I still see them, structures and baguettes within interwoven into the mind's eye, flesh and faith separated. These lyrics are really envious of this maze. Are you hearing this? Where did he go?
Help! I'm trapped! I don't want to be in the maze anymore!
Eventually on the track, we get these blood-curdling string passages in 3/4, with more great harmonious guitar work too. Then to follow at the very end, just the heavier riffs, the crushing riffs come back for just a big explosive finish. Again, getting slight black metal vibes on the track, and once more, just loving the progression of this track. It's a roller coaster ride, and I'm on the edge of my seat for every moment. And the closer to follow from here actually continues on this guitar string combo, but I would say does it even better and makes even more room for the strings, to the point where it's almost giving like post-rock or post-metal vibes, but with death metal style vocals and a kind of progressive song structure. I'm sold, especially since the string sections are so good and they really kind of take the reins on the song at a few points. It really adds not just to the stylistic diversity of the record, but the emotional diversity of the album too, because as the song progresses, it just feels more tortured and sorrowful. Even the vocals are coming off more pain than they were in many previous passages, where you're getting these very kind of standard, deep, guttural death metal style growls. And reading more into the lyrics on the track, they also reinforce this narrative of sadness and pain. And it also seems like the maze this album is about is a horrible place. It was but a facade. We have been tricked. The maze has led to great horrors. And with that, we end the album musically, sonically, and narratively in a very profoundly dark place, which also very impressive that this record really just kind of works in layers. It's doing stellar things on the production side, on the song structure and musical and instrumental arrangement side, on the performance side, on the songwriting and storytelling side, and finally there's just this interesting mix of extreme and progressive metal and rock styles coming together into an album that is just very focused, very cohesive, while simultaneously balancing so many different things very well. There are some aspects to the album that I feel like didn't quite go far enough, and maybe some guitar tones and vocal passages come off a bit maybe standard or too average for death metal today. But those are some very minor nitpicks and observations on what is just, pretty much a fantastic album from a band that I think deserves way more attention than they're currently getting. I'm feeling a light to decent 9 on this album. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Civerous, forever.